always in time, but never in line for dreams. Head over heels, went toe to toe. This is the sound of my soul. This is the sound. I wanna take it to the world, but now I've come back again. Why do I find it hard to write the next line? Oh, I want the truth to be said. I know this much is true. I know this much is true. With a thrill in my head and a pill on my tongue, there's over nerves that have just begun. Listening to Marvin all night long. This is the sound of my soul. This is the sound, always slipping from my hands. Stands a time of its own. Take your seaside arms and write the next line. Oh, I want the truth to be known. I know this much is true. I know this much is true. I bought a ticket to the world, but now I've come back again. Why do I find it hard to write the next line? Oh, I want the truth to be said. I know this much is true. I know this much is true. This much is true. This much is true. This much is true. I know this much is true. 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 I know this much is true. This much is true. This much is true.
Hey, I'm gonna get started with this discussion real quick, and I don't expect for any of the gang stalker trolls to understand any of this, because I can assure you that all of the gang stalking trolls have a very, very low IQ, and they are devoid of any type of comprehension. But what I wanted to talk about, just to kind of break this down for you guys, is why the gang stalking trolls continue and what contributes to their delusion around what they do and just everything. So, first of all, stupidity can be very dangerous. I've noticed that stupid people can be very dangerous for not only others but themselves, right? So, and then also they're very codependent. Codependency can be very dangerous, okay? Loneliness can be very dangerous. Social awkwardness can be very dangerous, okay? So, I wanted to bring up codependency because we're talking about trolls who crave an interaction because it looks fun, but they don't exactly know how to do it. They don't. They don't know how to get along with other people. It's they don't know how to behave in a civilized manner, and that goes beyond, you know how they say black people can be wild and ignorant. No, this goes beyond that because black people don't necessarily behave like those people, and we all know it. Let's just keep it a buck. Okay, let's keep it real. Okay. But they came to social media, and part of the reason why they like to try to latch on is because there's a lot of loneliness and just bleakness. So this is the reason why they came to social media. They latched on to each other. They tried to latch on to me. They latch on to people's families. They just latch on, latch on, latch on. Right? They're really ridiculous. You know, when you think about it, they should be embarrassed to come online and consistently pretend like they know people. I mean, even if they speak to somebody that you know, all of a sudden they feel like they are somehow acquainted with you. And we all know that that's not true. But part of what leads to their delusion is things and events and certain things that are happening in the lives of the people that they are targeting. I'm going to give you guys some examples. Okay. The first example that I want to give is PPP loans. Okay. Let's talk about that first, right? I actually got a PPP loan back in 2021. I was also forgiven of that PPP loan in 21, like 3 months later. Now, when the PPP loans first came out, the gang stalking trolls was talking about it a lot, but they were talking about it from a perspective of a scammer that doesn't actually have a legitimate business. That's all they know. They don't know anything else. So they came on here saying, oh, you're going to go to jail for getting that loan. Well, the only way you're going to go to jail is if you don't have a legitimate business and verifiable income. And they just kept saying it to me. And, oh, you better stay away from them PPP loans. It's like, but the only person that would need to fear that is a person that doesn't actually have a business, that can't verify their business income for their small business or mid business or large business. If they can't verify the income and if they don't file their taxes. But they just kept saying it and kept saying it, and it's so weird because they try so hard to sound intelligent, but it just sounds like somebody stupid bantering and going on and on. And for some reason, they all were saying the same thing, which is why I suspect that there is somebody that is probably smarter than them that gives them or feeds them that information for them to go out there and say it, because it just did not make any sense, right? So not only that, during the time of the PPP loans, they also go and check people's documents. And they found my PPP loan document as if I had something to be ashamed of, and they dropped the document. It's like that's kind of like public information, right? And they made this big whole deal. Oh, she's going to jail, and just acting like, I swear to God, just it was it was ridiculous, right? And so of course I didn't have no fear of that. I've got, my income is verifiable through PayPal, through Cash App, through my website. I mean, what am I doing? Placing orders to myself, and then it's that just where would I get the money to do that? So it's very weird. That loan was based upon how much was projected that you expected to make and how much you were short. So in 2021, I asked for a little over, I think it was a little over 10,000. I think it was $10,800. I'd have to go back and check in my records. And boy, they just was going nuts, nuts, nuts. Okay. Part of what leads to their delusion is incorrect information, as well as having a mentality that is very ignorant. They can't think straight, none of them. Now, this is a big one. My mother passed away in 2021, right? You know how they like to front like they got witches in their group. So, knowing that information, part of what led to their delusion that they are still in today is that they think that just because they was hating on my mama or harassing my mother, they think they killed my mother. Did you hear me? So when you have a death in your family, it leads to their delusion even more because they believe, which it's not the truth. My mother died from complications of cancer. My mother died because it was her time to go. My mother passed away in June of 2021. When my mother passed away, the people in that group that are hateful, vindictive, and spiteful and jealous of my mother because my mother got it going on. Because my mother, you know what I'm saying, very successful. I'm pretty sure they were looking up my mama's documents and could see her house that she lived in. They wasn't announcing it, but they could see that. Jealous, looking back at my mother's real estate history. You can check all of that stuff, right? They wanted my mother to die. She actually dies, and these dummies think that they had something to do with it. More delusion of power. None of them have the power to kill anybody with magic. None of them. Which is why, if you notice, they're very delusional because back in the day that, there was beefs and stuff that other people they had with each other. And I was hearing something back in the day. This was like in 2015 or 2016, to where one of them was saying that, some other person couldn't come and get on camera because they made her look old overnight. And she just was looking all old and messed up and decrepit. You know what I'm saying? So that's why now they've gotten so delusional that even if you look like me, which from what I can see and from what everybody else can see, I mean, I mean, my goodness, that I look good. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say for my age, but I still look the same. They're so delusional that they have to now tell themselves that I look like some kind of monster, and they'll even Photoshop photographs to further their delusion and trying to fool people, which is why I come on here on a regular basis and cam up. It's as simple as that, without no filters. If I were just uploading videos, I might be able to fake it, but I'm uploading live directly from my phone so you can see me. And my camera, it's an iPhone camera. So I can't, like, iPhone cameras see everything. Okay. So they're very delusional and very deceptive people. Okay. Let me give you another example when I was evicted. Okay. Now, before I get into that, let's talk about 2000. Let's talk about 2021 and 2022. Why do I keep bringing up the year 2022 in particular? Things began to happen in their lives that they decided to blame on the people that they're stalking, which furthered their delusion, right? Furthered the delusion. Now, I'm not discounting the fact that energy, because somewhere around 2022 was when that thing had happened at that concert where all those people had died because of the energy and there was just people dropping dead at that concert. If you remember, with the big mouth that was open, right? And that was around the time, that was before their energy got dealt with. Because I never forget, and I did that. Probably a few other people that was watching, but I did that. I was one of the people that did that. That pretty much made their energy not touch nobody else. Because one day I was sitting there and I was listening, and all of a sudden I just felt really weird, like my brain was getting ready to melt. And I turned it off and I said, "Ooh, let me listen to some brain healing music." It was really weird, right? So their energy has been contained. Whatever it is that they think that they're doing, they're not. I understand that there's some people that assume, because they are trying to stay close to the spiritual community, you assume that somebody is doing work and siphoning energy through them. That's no fucking body. There's no psychic vampire or parasitic person. Now, I do agree that they all have their own parasitic entities attached to them. Okay, but there's nobody going, go and attack Jamila so I can take her energy. If even if they tried to do that previously, it failed. It failed, right? So somewhere around that time is when they found out that it was all malarkey, right? Let's fast forward to somewhere around 2023, 2024. I was living in my, again, everything that they do is based on the happenings that are happening to other people that has nothing to do with them. My journey has nothing to do with these people. What happens to me has nothing to do with these people. Absolutely nothing. Um, because I don't see any of those people as God or godly. Doesn't matter. Unless you walk up to me and blow my motherfucking head off, you ain't got no you. And if you could ever get close enough to me to do that, but that's the only way that you can technically do a goddamn thing to me. Okay, then you can say, oh, okay, I shot the bitch, but you can't even do that. You can't even do that because I got blood. I got blood on my life. I got demons on my life and the life of my loved ones. Right. 2023, they got even more delusional. The documents that they look up makes them more delusional. This is why none of them will ever be able to successfully even practice magic. We know they're not witches or warlocks. Okay. They won't even be able to, it's not happening. So somewhere around 2021 was when the raccoon showed up. Again, more delusion. These people thought that when a raccoon showed up in my attic, that they did it. even though it was because of the trees were overgrown and the raccoons were able to travel up to the roof of the house because the landlord was neglectful, and the raccoons were able to eat a hole in the attic to get into the attic. More delusion for them. Oh, I did that. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. It's a common problem that, especially over in that area that I was in, over in Stone Mountain, a lot of trees, a lot of nature. Okay. Then when I started having problems, right? And I would say that if that raccoon showing up was supernatural, it would be my ancestors and spirits. And I'm going to tell y'all why. My ancestors and spirits did not want me in Georgia, period. They did not want me there. From the beginning, my mother didn't want it. I say it would be my mother that would have done it. Because can't nobody make nothing happen to me except for my mother and my father. You don't have no power, right? And then especially being that you're attacking me unprovoked. You can't do anything to me because I'm not provoking you, right? So somewhere around 2021, I started having issues because I could not sleep. I was seriously disturbed. I was seriously disturbed by that family of raccoons in the attic. I was. It was awful. It was. I couldn't sleep that damn thing. And the one thing that kept going through my mind was it busting through the fucking ceiling. So, and then also with the economy being stalked, you know, not being in the best situation with a person that is very toxic was a small, very, very small, minute percentage of the financial issues that I began to have, but it was mainly the environment. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when I think back to 2021 and 2022, I literally had the opportunity to move out of that house, but because I'm such a stable person, you know, I didn't want to do that. I liked my house. Okay, so that's why I stayed. Well, can't go back and change it. What's done is done. They were then at that point claiming that they contacted my landlord. Really? Yeah, we contacted your landlord and had you thrown out. Mm, no, not exactly. Because why did my landlord keep renewing my lease then? Doesn't matter what the truth is. They have to stay in their delusion. It does not matter. If you contacted my landlord in the year 2021 and 2022 and 2023 and 2024, why did my landlord keep renewing my lease? Things that make you go, So now, this is what made them totally slip into darkness that I don't think that they are ever going to be able to come out of. Everybody knows that I was fighting my landlord on the eviction. In fact, mainly what I was trying to do was to get the landlord in court so that we could basically, you know, do some negotiating and mediating as far as like them compensating me for the trouble that I went through. And it wasn't just the raccoons, it was other problems that they were not fixing with that house. Well, that didn't happen. Luck of the draw, because we're in Georgia, and for some reason in Georgia during that time they were just letting slumlords get away with everything. Plus, the landlord that I was dealing with was very well compensated and probably was paying off. Took some hush money, took some money. We all knew The one thing that was protecting me was the personal bankruptcy that I filed. I filed a chapter 11, no, chapter 13 bankruptcy that I had to end up filing. Like any other adult that is going through something with their fucking landlord in the situation that I was fucking in. I didn't file a bankruptcy for my business. I filed a personal chapter 13 bankruptcy to protect me from eviction. Because at that point, I was not in a position to move. Okay. I wish that I would have moved when I got that damn PPP loan because I could have and I should have. But, can't go back and change it. They got even more delusional because I was evicted. And one of the trolls who you see is no longer around, and I don't think she's going to come back. The trolls and the stalkers lead to more of their delusion. The video footage that they have of my stuff outside led to even more delusion for them. They really believe that they made that happen, and they did not. Nothing that they want or think they can do to me will ever happen. And it just is what it is. But they got real delusional. And you can even tell because of the ridiculous things that they were doing and the ridiculous things that they were saying. It just got worse and worse and worse to the point where when you listen to them talk, it's literally like listening to a bunch of people in an insane asylum. For some reason, the video footage made them even more delusional based upon another person's journey. Now, everybody knows that when I moved out of that house, I very consistently, stayed in an extended stay. In the meantime, I was fighting a court case and planned to move back home when I got that. So I wasn't going to get a house or anything while I was down there. No. Okay. Their thought process when it comes to their capabilities has everything to do with someone else's journey. What they don't realize is that destiny in the making. Whatever it was that was happening to me has nothing to do with them. Nothing. Absolutely nothing to do with them. They can't accept it. Just like this crazy troll in the chat room right now, just mentally ill. Okay. We're going to ignore that person. There's a lot. And I'm going to tell y'all what the main factor and source of their delusion is, even though they know it's not real. Especially some of them women over there, and some of them charlatans and wannabe witches. The guy that I met up with, who's a troll, and him coming to social media and doing me dirty, is their main source of delusion. They believe that they are the all-powerful because somehow they lit a candle or did a spell and made this dude dog me out. Ooh, that's a big one, ain't it? They just think that they are the most powerful gods of Oz and creation because they turned somebody against me that was already against me and that is incapable of loyalty. It's a fact. Still in a delusion. Even though they haven't manifested anything, they have nothing really to show for it. For some reason in their minds, they believe that they have some kind of power, which is why they hold on to it. They hold on to the revenge porn. They hold on to this dude coming online talking shit as if that means anything, because they think that even though they plotted against me with this dude was already against me, they think for some reason that they have the power, pow, because he's against me. Well, he was already against me. So he had already been stalking me for several years. See what I'm saying? And you can even tell, look, the black sector trolls are in the chat room just as mentally ill as ever. So the message that I have today is for their family, is what I want to talk about. People close to them, especially in particular their children. You have to understand that what your family member is doing by being a gang stalker is going to curse you, them, and your whole bloodline. And what you have to do at this point is cut them off. Feel sorry for any small children that are in their care. They're not going to do nothing but bring you death and destruction. Yes, there is a way to cut off a family member, even if it's a parent, in case they're doing dangerous stuff like that. They come to social media every single day. They're very toxic. Think about it. Have you ever heard about what people like Jeffrey Dahmer, his family went through? It's very devastating. Now, unless you're cut from the same cloth and you agree with that type of behavior, then, we'll let the chips fall where they may. Okay? If you are smart and want a good life, you will cut that person off, because even if they're a family member, they are not going to do anything but bring destruction and death into your life. Your family member is corrupt, and they are attacking people's innocent children and families. They will bring nothing but death and destruction into your life. Anybody that is family members with a gang stalker, you need to cut them off. Period. Okay? Because they're going to bring destruction into your life. Already are. Bad luck, bad juju. Okay? Now, like I said, if you're like that person, you know that wishing bad on innocent people that have done nothing to you. And let me tell you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Your family member is so corrupt that they tried to falsely justify what they were doing to innocent people by making up crimes that they supposedly committed, in particular me. But that's not real. Okay? Falsely claiming and trying to justify what you're doing to a person will never work. Okay. In particular with me. And as you can see to date, these people still lie on me. I don't care what they do to each other. That ain't my problem nor my business. But it's when they start to get me involved is where there is a problem. I mean, you can think that you can fight me, but you can't because you're not fighting with me. You're fighting with very powerful old gods and primordial goddesses. So you're not fighting at all. You can't fight. You have no prayer. And please stop coming with that whole thing with Christianity. That's the only reason why they claim Christianity is because Christianity has something against witches. But let me explain something to you. See, I'm not even Christian and I know the Bible. The witch would have to be hiding within your congregation. So you don't have a right to come after witches. If the witch is not a part of your congregation, you have no dice. Now, if it's a witch that's a part of your congregation, has joined your church, you know, then that's different. Now, keep in mind, they're very delusional and psychotic. Nobody in the world ever behaves this way. Notice how they keep saying, you are in the black sector. You are in the black sector. Ask God if I am, and I can guarantee you that God will tell you no. The answer is no. Okay? They have been very disturbing to people. They have disrupted people in mourning their loved ones that have died. When my mother died in 2021, that girl Tiffany, who found out through my cousin Tony that my mother had died, and went and told that group immediately. So I had to be harassed during the time that my mother passed away. Of course, I survived it. It was just the point. Your people are in violation and they will be dealt with. Okay? And they have no chance. Nothing is ever going to work out for them. That's a fact. Even if they stop, they're still going to have to deal with the backlash. They have to deal with what they've done previously. And all of them have written checks that they asses can't cash. Okay? If I found out a family member of mine was doing shit like that, I'd disown them in a New York minute. No, no, nobody in my family would do that. If they did, they get disowned. My grandmother would cut them out of the family bloodline. Nobody, nobody would do that. Nobody that I know would do the things that they do. Okay. So if I were you, I would eat plenty of garlic if you can, cleanse and purify yourself, and walk away from your crazy gang stalking person because you know what? You can't do anything about it. You can't save them. At some point, they have decided that their life is worthless and pointless, and that's exactly what it is. Okay? And they will bring you bad luck and bad juju, especially if you sitting over there trying to light candles. It's, the funny part about it is that They create all this crap, lies and deception and all that. And then they'll start talking about lighting a return to sender. Well, isn't that an oxymoron? Because guess who the sender is? Them. They're the sender. So they can't return anything to the people that they're attacking. See how that works? Okay. So if you are a family member of the gang stalker, you have an invested interest to protect yourself by having nothing to do with that family member. Okay. Even if they're your parent, I wouldn't have nothing to do with them because nothing good is coming for those people. They don't know how to shut up. They don't know how to check themselves before they wreck themselves. And it just is what it is. 2026 is not going to be a good year for gang stalkers at all. It hasn't been good for them at all. And they trying to blame it on the president or the economy or Joe Biden or somebody. No, the bad luck and bad juju that they have has nothing to do with none of that. Okay. All right. I hope that you guys enjoyed this discussion. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up, subscribe, like, share, and I will see y'all later. Hold on, let me screenshot these troll accounts. Give me a second and I'm gonna get out of here. Mm-hmm. See how they freaking out because they know their time is up. All right. All right. See y'all later. Happy Friday. Bye.